Merry meet Annie here. Welcome to Thursday on Pagan Perspective with an interesting topic, Satanism and the Left-Hand Path. FTW Biology asked us about doing a topic on Satanism, our opinion and thoughts on it. Gestalt Chimera asked what again were our thoughts on Satanists, dark pagans, and other left-handed path people, specifically how they are treated or mistreated in the pagan community. Now, me doing a topic on Satanism is not going to be telling you what I think Satanism is. One thing I have found very powerfully in common with friends I have met over the years who are Satanists and traditional Wiccans is no one website or book really gets to the heart of the matter. I could pick and choose bits and pieces of information I think I know about Satanists, but I'm not a Satanist. I can tell you how I've been in relation with Satanists, how they have fit into my community, and how the left-handed path has this unique and beautiful power. And Satanists usually embrace how I am going to interpret it, the left-handed path, in this video. When I was training with my first teachers, we didn't get to initiation without being as versed with the left-handed path as the right. The right-handed aspect was what we were told was, what our teachers and the circle we were studying with told us was, from how we were to do things, to the shared beliefs, to what the community saw as ethic, moral guidelines. The right-hand path. Left-handed path, which we had to fully and completely address in order to initiate, was the understanding that all of that is made up. That the journey to one's self is a private, personal journey. It is not about oneself in relation to community or to others. It is deeply personal. It's about experiencing your own life. It was a great part of my study, my growing up and my maturing. I would say my practice is balance, left-hand and right-handed. And in fact, one of my favorite quotes in life is Ursula Le Guin's quote out of her book, The Left Hand of Darkness, which is the left hand of darkness is light. My personal practice is very balanced between the two. I don't think I would be the woman I am if that weren't the case. When we were studying in those early days, we talked about, in ancient times, especially if we studied Hindu and Buddhist cultures, the left and the right-handed paths were both acknowledged as legitimate paths in life. Neither was seen as the path or the right path. There were always those who were of society and community that seemed to establish rules and guidelines and decide that's what it was for everybody else too. They were respected for that, but then there were those outside of that. Those who did not embrace what someone said, but those whose life experience was simply in the living of their life. This modern time we're in, I'm not so sure that's the case. And I also look at that from two sides, which is the right-handed practitioner looking at the left-handed practitioner as outside of community, and the left-handed practitioner looking at the right-handed practitioner as nothing but a sheep who follows because they've been told to, and therefore lack of respect between the two. I see the power in both ways of being. My way of being actually is a balance of the two. The left hand of darkness is light. When I studied this in my 20s, the things that made the left-handed path very powerful to me were studying nihilism. The concept of existential nihilism, a very powerful thing I studied as I was deciding what was my personal left-hand path. What did it mean to me? Existential nihilism, the philosophy that life has no inherent value. Can be difficult for the right-handed practitioner to understand if I say that life has no value, no purpose. We're not here to learn a lesson, to reenact karma. We're not here to heal or teach or love. We are not here for a specific purpose. There's no specific purpose to life. Well, I'm going to look at then, well, why life? With the left-handed practitioner, the devotee who truly understands the power of existential nihilism goes, the power is in the living, in being and living fully. That was a very powerful thing for me to consider. Very powerful in my younger years. And then, of course, we went on to talk about moral nihilism, and that's the important part of the left-handed path, which knows that rules and regulations and religious guidelines of society are made up. Someone made them up. Personally, I have a deep respect for those who can stand in the face of that and go, I will decide what is for me. If there's going to be something made up here, I will make it up for myself. Thank you very much. The confusion comes into it when the left-handed practitioner is judged by someone of another practice or faith who thinks that because they are a creature of free will, an independent spirit, that they are somehow disconnected from humanity, serving only their own purpose, don't care who they hurt, at great hurts or small hurts. My experience in this is, of those I have known in life, is it's not so. The human existence doesn't tend to be a solo one. We all gain from the way we establish relationships and the way we choose to live in society. Each of us decides what's in it for us. We all do it. We might not all admit to it, but we all do it. The left-handed practitioners that I have known and come to respect throughout my travels in the pagan world have been those who are eschewing of the traditional guidelines that others might put upon them, who are truly living independent and of free will. And that brings me to another thing that I made a note of here. Joseph Campbell. There's a modern take on the left and right-handed practices that I highly recommend for those who would like to do a little more research on it. He recognized the difference between the two paths as a social and an individual choice. The right-handed practitioners choosing community. And the way he put it was, they chose the path of society, and the left-hand path was the path of the individual. He saw the right-handed path as keeping one connected to the world, able to live with dignity and respect. But he felt very strongly that ultimately, and this is a quote, an evolving human being develops a sense of individuality only when they begin to step outside the structures and strictures of society, when they embrace the left-handed path. He referred to the left-handed path as a passage by way of the senses, the eyes, the heart, and the spontaneity of the body. Everything which is whole and complete and contained within the individual. Joseph Campbell wrote that his concept of the hero, the one who ventures forth, who tackles that which must be tactful, the one who is fearless in the face of, is almost always a practitioner of the left-handed path, a pure individual on an individual course in life. Those are my takes on what the left and the right-handed path are. Some of the people we meet in the pagan world will be more right or more left or a blending of the two. I have embraced many Satanists and left-handed practitioners that I have met as one with the pagan community. And that was a question that Gestalt Chimera had for us. How do we see them fitting or not into the pagan community? I have met many of the left-handed path whose personal experience of the world is being in it. They have a deep appreciation for the world as they see it. Very intimately knowledgeable about nature, the world of nature, the power, the energy that is the force of life. Without having to give it some romantic purpose, they are really in touch with the energy of it. Another thing that I find the left-handed practitioner has in common, which with the more traditional pagan members of our community, is an appreciation for the old gods and the old ways. Going back to some of the old ways that some of the right-handed practitioners have forgotten even existed, that it's respectful to be the one on their own, the one who stands in the face of, the hero on a journey that has nothing to do with the made-up rules and regulations and romance And I also have an appreciation for what I see as the truly pagan and ancient understanding of the power of the person that stands at the edge of the village on their own, lives independently, the hermit, even the old woman in the cave, the unique character that was always appreciated and respected of the person who was alone on their own, the hero on the hero's journey. I think that the schism between the two is a modern invention, which makes it very right-handed in the sense that we're believing what someone said. My preference would be go back to the ancient way, where we can respect the person who functions most fully at the communal level and within the strictures of society. I tend to be very much that way myself. But I also know and would then respect the individual who stands outside of that, because my greatest moments of discovery and self-realization in life have come from the moments I have been immersed in left-handed study. The true ability to be introspective, whole unto myself, and learn from that experience and move from that perspective. So while I cannot give you a lecture on what a Satanist is, all whom I have met in person have been devoted practitioners of the left-hand path, which I have great respect for. I am not going to say I haven't met some who put me off, who I found to be anarchist to the point of I don't even know why they were in a public gathering. They didn't like people very much. But there are always those extremes. There's the uptight Wiccan who thinks they're better than everybody too. There are extremes amongst all of us in this community. But it seems to me there's a very leveling effect of the left and the right-handed practitioner and their ability to understand each other and honor that they have a unique perspective on life. And then there are those who will embrace both of the paths, like myself, and find the combination of the two, the way forward. I wish you mirth and reverence. Mary Part.